What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It has been a while. I'm soaking wet, but it's sunny out now. I just went and picked up the DRIFT V from, you can see it back there. Just went and picked it up from Bell Raceworks, and the cage is done, and it looks so good. It's so good you can't even see it. It's tucked up. There's so much room. It's amazing, and I'm super hyped. I'm gonna get home late tonight after it's dark, but the game plan for this week is get the car in the front garage and basically get to work. Friday, I have a tuning appointment, so we got to get the cage painted ASAP, and then we have to get the interior put back in. I got to swap the starter and the battery. I got to change the trigger wire to a ring terminal for the starter because I'm putting a truck starter into it. And then after that, I need to do a full nut and bolt and a toe adjustment. I'm just going to tape measure, align it to do the toe, to get it to track straight. Not so worried about the steering wheel as much because once we get to PA in a few weeks, I'm going to bring it by Tyler and we're going to get it on the rack and get it right. So it's going to be a busy week. I don't even know if I'm ready for it. I don't know if I slept enough this past weekend for it. So we're going to go home, going to get this thing unloaded in the garage, and I'll either tonight or probably tomorrow, I'll show you guys how it came out, because we'll have the sunlight with us at least, and I'm really excited to show you. So let me get this drive done. I got another 2.5 hours to go till we're home, and start getting to work. All right, guys, so we're jumping right to it. We are wasting no time. I have basically the driver's side of the cage masked off for the most part. I will be spraying it. I'm gonna be using this Seymour 316 stainless steel spray. So it's very similar to Steal It, but it's $12 a can as opposed to $34 a can. So I'm gonna go that route instead of just regular paint. And I'll show you guys what it looks like here so far. So we have our driver's side door bar, our A-pillar bar, got the windshield all masked off there, and we got all this stuff masked off down here. Now carpet will be going back in, so I could be a little lenient with what I'm masking where the carpet will cover. Same with door panels, but I still want to try and minimize the amount of overspray. I'll be using a piece of cardboard and just wedging it back there as I spray behind the dash. And yeah, so I'm gonna get to spraying and we'll see how this stuff, you can already see I sprayed some right here last night just to see how it will come up. So I'm just gonna keep spraying. I really want to build up a good amount of coats right here because that'll be a high wear area. Granted, I also am gonna do a piece of like clear film right here for when I get in and out. So let's get to work. All right, the cage is painted. Let me show you guys. We are all sprayed throughout, inside, outside, both sides. All done. Came out pretty good. Basically, once I let it completely dry, I'll pull the masking off. I'm gonna just wipe down all of the dusty areas. That'll all come off, no problem. And again, carpet's gonna be covering all this and the dash will be covering that. Not that I really got a lot of overspray everywhere, but I need to vacuum the floor because there's seam sealer bits from grinding to do the cage, and there's metal shavings from drilling holes, and it's a mess. So I'm gonna rip the whole thing out. I'm gonna clean the whole interior, vacuum it all out, and then we'll be ready to get the seats positioned. Carpet first, we'll pull that seat bracket out. We'll get our carpets in, we'll get them trimmed up to fit around the cage. And then from there, it'll be time to put the seats in, get our harnesses all tied up properly, and then get our dash in and our center console and all that. So we're making good progress so far. That stainless steel spray is very nice. I mean, it looks just like Steal It. It's a little lighter silver, but it still has, I did some test sprays and it has some pretty good durability compared to Steal It. I did a side by side, and honestly, kind of matches my wheels and my engine bay a little more. So I'm pretty hyped with that. And yeah, I mean, we got, you can't even see my bars here because the windshield's all taped off, but this car is also filthy just from being driven to and from the Bell with the in the rain, and then sitting at Bell shop, I got covered in dust. So once the interior is all in, I want to push this thing out, give it a proper wash, and then we will go ahead and move to the mechanical things that we have to do tomorrow. I have my buddy Ed coming over to give me a hand with that. We got to do a battery because I don't think that one's holding a charge. We're gonna do a new starter just because I have a truck starter for it. And what else? I think that's pretty much it. Got to get the intake back on, and then I got to do a tape measure alignment and nut and bolt everything. So we'll get it done. We'll get there. So we're gonna let this dry and check on it in a little bit, and hopefully be able to peel off all this masking, touch up any spots that might need some touch up, and we'll be good to go. So I know this video has been all over the place, but I have had to work my butt off basically to get this car to where it is currently sitting right now, and that is getting tuned by Tampa Tuning, street tune, and basically the cage is painted, the interior is in, the car is back together. I will go into that later when we're home, but tuning is going good. Wide open throttle pulls are, everything is on point, perfect. The only issue we're fighting right now is trying to get the car to stay. It wants to die. So after you do a pull, or after you're just driving, you put it in neutral to come to a stop, it wants to die. It doesn't want to stay running. We're also fighting some serious heat soak issues. High intake air temps, meaning I think that, well, one, it's just sucking in a lot of hot air, but I think we're heat soaking the MAF sensor, which isn't great. So we're gonna have to come up with a solution to basically get this MAF sensor further out here. And maybe what I'll do is put on one of my Stansco intakes. So we'll do the 90-degree coupler, the carbon fiber tube out to the MAF, and then maybe off the MAF, then we'll have a filter in here. If I can get my hands on a stock airbox, I'll do that and then open up the bottom of the stock airbox. I'd be totally down for that. I just need to get my hands on a stock airbox. So this guy is sucking in some hot air, and we're just getting some serious heat soak issues. I will be doing hood vents. So now that I see what we're struggling with, I most certainly will be doing hood vents. And yeah, otherwise, it's just a couple little things that we got to overcome here. But car looks good, car's together, car feels great driving, it rips. We're gonna hopefully get it finished up here, and I'll link up back with you guys once we're home. All right, guys, so sorry for this video being literally all over the place. Wrapped up with the tuner. Tuner basically threw the towel in. Could not get the thing to find idle on decel. We're gonna look into it. I've been messing around with it a little bit. I'm gonna talk to some other people, reach out to some other people as well. We'll get that done. The car rips, but it won't. It wants to die every time you press the clutch in and put it in neutral and let it, like, as you're slowing down. So we'll get that sorted out. But little update on the dual caliper bracket. I think we might finally be onto something worthwhile here. So hidden behind this base model rotor is my latest version of the dual caliper bracket. I bolted this caliper up. Oh, there goes a pad. Bolted this caliper up. It fell into a pretty good spot. Now I'm just gonna go get some washers and ultimately figure out what kind of spacer I'm gonna need to center the caliper bracket. So I'm gonna take the caliper off here, and I tighten these with a wrench. So I'm gonna get this caliper off. I am going to try and figure out, so I have a lower hole here, figure out the spacing I need to get it centered. Right now with it bolted up, finally I have an equal distance between the top tab and the bottom tab, so that's good. So now I just need to figure out how much of a spacer I'm gonna need in between this and the rotor to get these base model calipers centered, and then I'm gonna have to repeat the process with a Brembo, because the Brembo should then also work with this when I put the V rotor back on. So I didn't drill a hole here because I wanted to see where it's gonna fall first before I commit to drilling a hole. So let me go get some washers and we'll stack this up and see what we can do. Here it is. We got it mounted up. Before I drop everything,
One slight change I need to make is the lower hole. Just gonna bring it down a hair. We have a little bit of the pad hanging out over the top there, but I position the top here to sit flush. So if we can just bring that down a tiny bit, it'll be perfect. The only other issue that I have is I gotta notch this part of the bracket a little bit more for the piston. Now, when I test with the Brembos, I'm gonna see if I need that space on the Brembos or not. I might not, but you know, it might not make a difference if I shave it off and just you can use it on the Brembos, whether you need that space or not. Now, as you can see, this swings down into place, but it hits. I need to figure out now where this hole needs to go. I will drill the test hole in this piece. It'll probably take forever because it's 1/4 inch steel, but from there, we will be able to mount, at least so far as tested, a base model caliper using the Stansco dual caliper bracket. So we're getting there. I am going to try and figure out where this hole is. I'm going to drill a hole and we'll see if we can get this caliper mounted up properly. Thankfully, at least for the base setup, the spacer that I need is a very easy spacer. Conveniently enough, it's a spacer that I use in my tow arms, so I have some on hand. So I don't know about the Brembos. I will pull this off the brake line and toss it over, and we should be good to go just to test. But this is pretty awesome so far. I'm hyped. We're finally in the home stretch of the dual caliper brackets.
This past week has been nuts. I've had so much to do, so little time to do it. But we got it done. We got the car to the tuner, and you know, we had some issues. But let me show you guys what the cage looks like and what the finished product on the interior basically looks like. So the car runs, drives, it rips, but having a little issues with the tune. But we got our cage, painted real nice in stainless steel paint. This stuff is really durable too. It took some hits already, me getting in and out trying to put this interior together, and it held up great. As you can see, the door bars are super low, which I'm pretty hype about. Dash fitment was pretty good. I think these panels, these outside panels here, are going to fit. Might have to trim them a little bit, but I'll trim those and get them on. I didn't really have to cut much of the dash. This part's kind of just pushed up against it, but it's wedged in there. It fits. We got the center console back in. Got the Sparco seat. I robbed the NRG seat out of the passenger side of the 3000 for right now. Same with the harnesses out of the 3000 because the harnesses are still in date, and I don't have a second Sparco seat yet, but I will be putting a matching Sparco seat in on this side. The ASD will be going in very soon. See about the whole taking a hit thing. Look at that. Hit it, nothing. So the ASD will be going in very soon. I have the hopefully the production version of the Stansco mounting plate coming in and going in as well. Closing it up before this weekend, I'm going to wrap the side skirts, the door handles, the roof, and the bumpers, and then also I'm gonna get this wing wrapped and mounted onto the car. So it's kind of just finishing up a lot of cosmetic odds and ends. And I also ordered the final version of the dual caliper bracket, so that'll be here as well, along with another set of Brembos. So we'll get that all mounted up, and yeah, everything's going pretty good. I ordered a couple sensors and things like that I think will help with this whole tuning thing, and I'm going to continue to mess with it, but I'm hoping that we can take it to Cars and Coffee this weekend and I can just drive through the whole stalling and idle thing and just, you know, 3-pedal it as needed. But we're getting towards the end here of this build, you know, the end, but we're getting to the point where we're getting very close to being able to take it to the track. And hopefully we'll get the Cars and Coffee and get the tune sorted as quickly as I can. And once the tune is sorted, then we will be going to the track. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. And again, I apologize for this video kind of being all over the place, but either way, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.